Hi, this is Eric Armstrong, and I'm going to be demonstrating how to install an iOS keyboard. Here we are looking at my iPad, and in the second row you can see that gear icon of the Settings app. So I'm going to click on that, tap it, and it brings us up to the settings, and I currently have it on the General tab, and that's where you need to start. So on the left hand column you'll see General, and you need to select that, and then you'll need to scroll a fair ways down to Keyboard. You can see it just underneath Date and Time. I'm going to touch that, and up at the top you'll see where it says Keyboards, and on mine it says 1. So I'm going to touch that, and currently it just says English. There's just an English keyboard. So to add a new keyboard, we would touch the Add New Keyboard button. This is where we're going to do our work, but first we have to download our keyboard to get it onto the app. So onto the device, I'm sorry. So I'm going to touch the Home button. That's going to take us to our home screen, and I'm going to go into the App Store. In the App Store, I'm going to use the search bar up at the top, and I'm going to key in IPA Keyboard, and that comes up with a suggestion. Lucky us. And it brings up a number of IPA keyboards. The one I'm interested here is the one in the top left, IPA Keyboard, a complete International Phonetic Alphabet. It's got a long subtitle. You can see I've already paid for it and downloaded it before because we have that cloud icon with the arrow pointing down. So to re-download it, I touch that. Normally there would be a price there. So I've already bought it, so you don't see the price. I'm going to touch on that, and we get that spinning circle as the app begins to download. It's a fairly small thing, a keyboard, so it downloads quickly. I touch Open, and it opens it already. Now this keyboard comes with instructions. Not all keyboards come with great instructions, but it's pretty clear. We have instructions on what to do. So essentially it says to go to Settings, General, Keyboard, Keyboards. So that is what we did just earlier. So you see Settings, General, Keyboard, Keyboards, and then it gives further instructions. So we're going to close the tutorial at the bottom by touching those words, and you can see that ultimately there is an app here for sharing the writing from this keyboard. I don't think this is necessary. It ultimately is an app that I'm going to hide on my iPad. I'm going to touch the Home button. It's going to take us back to this home screen and jump into Settings like they described. We're already in General, and I touch that again to show you back to Keyboard. Up at the top, Keyboards, we're going to touch Add New Keyboard. And when we do that, it shows the third-party keyboards. Now, I have several third-party keyboards already downloaded, but not installed. So we're going to pick one to install, the IPA keyboard that we just did. Now, I touched it, and immediately we jump back to that keyboards screen. And you'd think we're done, but we're not. You see the disclosure arrow to the right beside IPA Keyboard. I'll touch that, and it asks to allow full access. Now, because I've installed this before, I think that's why it was already at allow full access. Normally it wouldn't be. So I touch that and choose to allow full access. This is important for IPA keyboards because they are quite complex, and they need to be able to access your device. So we're essentially done now. It is installed. So we'll just leave this at this point. I could add more keyboards. I've installed all of them on this device that I've talked about. So I hit Add New Keyboard, and you can see Black Keys, another one I reviewed. And you can see there's a whole bunch of different ones for Black Keys. For Black Keys, I want the English IPA and the IPA Full. So I select those, hit Done. And again, we have the disclosure arrow, so I touch that, make sure it's at Allow Full Access. Turn that off and back on again to make sure. Allow. And I'm going to do that for the IPA Full. Allow Full Access. Allow, yes. Go back. And the one other one that I reviewed was IPAChartApp. I'm going to add that. Now you'll notice IPAChartApp does not have a disclosure triangle to the right. You don't have to give it full access to your device. So I'm going to leave that as it is. So we now have 5 keyboards installed. That can be a bit challenging to navigate, and I'm going to show you what that looks like now. So first thing I do is touch the home button, go back to the home screen, and on my iPad I've set it up with 4 different apps that I might input text from. Pages is probably the most well-known app, so I'm going to touch that. And currently I don't have any documents in my Pages folder on iCloud. I kind of hid them away. So I'm going to hit the plus button to create a new document. That brings up a bunch of templates. I'm just going to take the basic blank in portrait mode. And here we are, blank screen. I can type here. Now, you'll see in the bottom row, there's a little globe icon. If I touch on that, it jumps to the first keyboard in my list. If I keep touching the globe icon, I scroll through all the different IPA keyboards we've installed until we come back around to the English US one. If I press and hold on the English US, you get a drop-down menu, so you can jump to the one that you're most interested in. So today we're going to look at the IPA keyboard, which is the second one. Now you'll notice if I press and hold on the IPA keyboard, it doesn't get a pop-up menu. It's only the Apple-designed keyboards that have the power to do this. It's very frustrating, actually. I think developers are not happy about it. So if I change by touching that, I have to scroll through all the different keyboards to get back to the English US one. So I'm going to press and hold and choose IPA keyboard. So as you can see, it looks pretty much like a QWERTY keyboard. There's no Shift key. And that's true of all of these. When you use these keyboards, they're really only for IPA. They're not for writing regularly. You'll need to switch back to the regular, in my case, English (US) keyboard in order to type with it. And so normally I would recommend not having a lot of keyboards so that you can switch back and forth fairly easily by just touching that globe key. So let's try putting in my name, Eric, and transcribe that. So let's find an symbol. It's lurking under the lowercase e. If I press and hold, you'll see there's a row of different symbols available here. So the is quite far along over here, and you can't see it, but from my vantage point, when I put my finger over that, of course it's obliterating it by putting my finger over it. So that is a bit of a challenge, learning to find that. You can see that's popped up on the screen. I want to add the air. I want to put an R-colored schwa. R-colored schwa is lurking also under the E, so I press and hold, and I've got air. Now I want to put a consonant R, Rick. Now for my narrow transcription, I like the upside down R. Press and hold on the R. Up comes the different values for R. Now you can see there's a lot of different R's here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's about as many R's as the developer was comfortable putting on the device. And so you'll notice that there is no tapped R here. Tapped R is not actually under R. We're going to use, of course, the upside down R, the approximate R. If I wanted the tapped R, it's actually lurking under the T. You'll see it right there, the third one under the T. And that's there. I'm just going to delete that now. That tapped R is there because in North American English, a lot of people use tapped R in place of T, right? That voiced T. So we get better, that kind of thing. People will use that fishhook tapped R symbol. Small cap I for the I vowel is lurking under the I, so press and hold on the I, and it's the third one to the left. And then a K is a K. There's not much to that. So I'm just going to put a space here, and let's just look underneath a few of these. You can see Q has the glottal stops under it. W has the turned W and the regular W. We already looked at E and R. T has quite a few under it. The tapped R, as we talked about. The one where your tongue curls back. I'm forgetting the term for it. The Affricate ch, Affricate ts. Yeah, so we get a number of T variants. Down here, just above the space bar, we have the clicks. There's all the clicks there available for you. So really, we're getting to a lot of the symbols quite quickly. If you want to add a diacritic, diacritics are going to be under the character in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to touch that, and the screen will change, and you see all of the diacritics. These characters, if I press and hold on one, you'll see that they don't pop up anything else. They just have their own. Now this one has a below or above, and that's true for some of the characters, right? You'll notice that up here, I've pinched to zoom on the text, and you'll see I've stacked 4 different diacritics. So that's good. It's handling stacking diacritics quite well. Pages handles the IPA quite well. The font, its default font, is quite good. Let's look at what that default font is. It's Helvetica, and Helvetica is pretty good. If I wanted to change that, I can touch on the font and then select a font here. Quite a few fonts available in this, but it's hard to tell what handles IPA well. If I go to Avenir, let's see how Avenir does. So I'm going to come out of here and try going back to just characters. I'm going to type some regular symbols. Those are normal ASCII symbols, so if I add in some IPA ones, do we notice a difference? Yeah, that looks much thicker. That's because this is essentially replacing Helvetica for the Avenir. Because the Avenir font doesn't have it, we're getting a mix. So it's important that you try to figure out which font is a good font to use when you're inputting IPA characters in your document. Let's just take a look at another keyboard in another app. So I'm going to jump into Microsoft Word for iOS and create a blank document. I touched on blank document, and it pops open. A fairly familiar interface if you're used to using Microsoft Word. You can see that Calibri is the font of choice here. Microsoft Word for iOS comes with a bunch of Microsoft fonts, so you get a bunch of extra fonts that are not normally accessible on your iOS device when you install Word for iOS. Word for iOS is currently free, and it is slightly handicapped if you don't have a Office 365 account, which I do not have. We're still in the same keyboard. If I wanted to create a J Affricate, I touch on D, press and hold on the Z or Z, and choose the edge symbol. Now look, you see what's happened? If we zoom in here on the D and edge, the Dej Affricate, you'll see that autocorrect has changed that D. If I hit the undo, it fixes it. Now, if I want to put the tie bar over top, I've created the J Affricate pair there. If I hit the tie bar over top, you'll notice that the tie bar has actually gone over the J and not over the combo. You have to put the tie bar in between. So I'm going to delete the edge, put a tie bar, and then go back and put the edge in. Now I get my Affricate pair. So that's a little bit of a clue. Helpful to you, I think. And if I wanted to put a break, you'll notice that if I hold over that, it gives me my break symbol. There doesn't appear to be a double bar. And that, I think, is unfortunate because personally I like to have that. If I touched on the numbers, you just get a number pad. That's not so great. Typically, when I'm doing a phonetic transcription, though, I don't tend to need that very much. My brackets are lurking underneath the diacritics, and if you want to start with a left bracket, and then I go back and put in a bunch of characters and then close that, to get the closing bracket, I have to go back to diacritics, press and hold, and choose the right bracket. So I think that's introduced you to that keyboard. Let's switch to another one. So I'm going to tap on the globe, and different designers choose different globes to use. Now, this is the IPA English from Black Keys. You can see I've got it set up in white key mode. The keys are white with black text. Black key mode has black keys with white text. Somehow I can't seem to figure out how to turn it back off again. So we're going to leave it with the white keys. As I said, similar layout to the keyboard design of the IPA Keyboard app. I'm going to press and hold, and you'll see when you press and hold, they sort of black out all the other keys, and they make a sort of circle around the keys that you need. The top row, of course, puts its keys typically to the left and right of what you're looking for. And that's generally not bad. And as you can see, because it's sort of clustered around the key, you don't have to quite go as far as you have to go on the IPA keyboard. And some people, I think, might find that preferable. This is the IPA, the English IPA, and that means that there's quite a few IPA symbols right on the keyboard right here. So, for instance, the theta in the top middle row. It's sort of QWERTY-ish, but it's not exactly QWERTY. Yeah, so there. Where's your Q? Where's your Q going to be? Is it going to be under the P, because P and Q look alike? No. Is it going to be under the schwa? No. So sometimes the problem with a keyboard layout like this is you can't find it. And probably because this keyboard is the English IPA, the assumption is that for English you don't need Q. And so it's just not on this keyboard. Let's look under esh, the sh symbol. Is there anything lurking under there? No, nothing. You can just get esh. So most of these don't have anything under them. Now, A has several, and so vowels typically are going to have a number of things lurking under them. So if I look under the I, you'll notice that the I symbol they choose to use doesn't have serifs. This is supposed to be the small cap I. If I press and hold and scroll around, you can see the dotted I has a dot. They even offer you an E with a length mark already attached. If I insert a small cap I, it has the serifs. So it's a bit confusing. So this is generally why I don't prefer the English IPA variant of the Black Keys keyboard. Let's take a look at the full IPA. So I'm going to touch on the globe, and that will bring up the full IPA keyboard. Now the keyboard is more of a QWERTY keyboard. If you install both the English IPA and the full IPA, the way you tell them apart is that the English IPA one, character caps, have sans serif font, and the full have a serif font. So it's a subtle difference, but I think it's important. If I press and hold on the Q, you'll see that they've also chosen to use the Q for the glottal stops. So that's helpful. And they have a specified key down here for clicks. You can see in the bottom corner that click key. I'll press that again so you can see that. And the keys with the hook tops, those are all right beside the spacebar. It's a fairly big spacebar, and that's, I think, helpful. Now you'll notice on the left side of the screen, the gray keys, double arrows up. That, if I select that, that switches us to the diacritics that are above. 2 arrows down is diacritics that are below. Now, if I thought, well, I want to put a diacritic, and then I look at them and I go, oh, you know what? I don't want to put a diacritic. There is no key to go back to the alphabet. So you have to enter something. So I just touch the blank key, and that eventually gets me back to the alphabet. But normally, of course, you're going to want to put something. So if I was going to put a voiceless underring underneath that character, I'm going to touch the down arrow key, and then I'm going to hunt for that underring. Now, my problem is that my eyesight is such that it's difficult for me to differentiate between the underring, which is over here on the far right side, and let's go back to that screen, and the little box for laminal, which is right beside it. My vision is such that those look similar at this point. If I don't put my glasses on, it's hard for me to tell them apart. The diacritic symbols are the size they will be compared to the font that you're working with. And I kind of wish that these diacritics were a little bit bigger. If you want an under tie bar, the tie bar doesn't even really fit on the key. So let's put a tie bar down and put a space and write T, and we're going to find an esh under S. And if I try to put that under tie bar, it doesn't even work. If I do an over tie bar, now it shows up. It's more over the esh than over the T. So maybe we have to do what we did before and add in the tie bar first. Let's do an over tie bar and then add the esh after. And now they're underneath it neatly. So hopefully that gives you a sense of the black keys variants. And let's quickly jump into the IPA chart version. So I touch the globe, and you can see that here they've got a green globe. Inserting a return is impossible in this keyboard. So I'm just going to put a bunch of spaces so that we leave some space from the other one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch keyboards and put in a couple of returns, so that's better. Now I'm going to touch and hold because we're in the US keyboard. I'm going to go back to IPA Chart board. And first I want to show you the scrolling. So this is the first. Across the bottom we have a number of tabs, and if I press and hold them, you can see it's like different areas of the IPA chart. So I'm going to start with the pulmonic consonants. And if I wanted something in the bottom right hand corner, what I would have to do is grab hold and drag the screen to get down into that bottom corner. Now luckily there's nothing really down in there, but if I'm looking for a character, I have to hunt for it. So say I wanted to transcribe a word like I don't know, this. So first I'm going to find the fricative row, and then I'm going to find the dental and choose the voice dental, the. Now I need a vowel, so I have to switch tabs to the vowel, and I is of course here on the vowel chart. Back to the consonants. Now I have to find S. This is in the alveolar area, so there it is. S. So I enter that. Space is just the word space. Guy. Let's find a velar, voiced velar stop plosive. So we know that plosive is the top row. Velar is over on the right. There's the G. The voiced one is always on the right, remember? So G. Now I want to do the diphthong I. So back to the vowel chart. To bottom left, so I have to scroll. There's the A. And now I need a small cap I and I. Now I like to put a non-syllabic diacritic underneath that. So is it here under this set of symbols? No. These are mostly syllable breaks and length marks. I want to go to this tab over here, and I'm going to have to scroll to find that non-syllabic. Here it is, and it's described non-syllabic. Oh, that's good. That's helpful. So if you're using symbols that you're not, oh gosh, now what is that diacritic for, for velarized? Oh yeah, that's that thing. Okay, there it is. If I wanted to write the word feels, I have to go back to the consonants, find an F, so I have to scroll down, find the F. Oh, there's the F. Now an E, back into the vowel chart. Now, do they have that dark L? I'm going to go across to the extra symbols. Do they have the velarized L? No. So I'm going to have to build the velarized L. So back to the consonants, and I'm going to find the lateral approximant. Yeah, you'll see in that row of lateral approximants they don't have a velarized one. So I'm going to put that alveolar lateral approximant, and then I'm going to use the diacritics to put velarized on it. So I have to scroll and look around for velarized. There it is, velarized. Touch that. And unfortunately, it's put it above it. and not on it. Press and hold. Does it give me an option? No. So this is failing in a big way. So for me, this is not good enough. It might be helpful for a student who's just learning, particularly learning obscure symbols or when you need obscure symbols, but it's just not working for me. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep of course, my English keyboard, and I'm going to add this IPA keyboard, and that's it. I like to have my emoji keyboard. I have a keyboard from Text Expander, from Smile Software. And so I ultimately will have 4 keyboards: English, emoji, an IPA keyboard, and the Text Expander keyboard, so I can enter text very quickly. That's what I have for my layout. It's a pretty sweet setup. I'm going to show you quickly what this looks like on the phone, and then we'll wrap this up. So here we are using my device, my iPhone, to try out the iOS keyboard for IPA. So I'm just going to quickly review the idea of installing a keyboard on iOS. So go to Settings and scroll down to General. And in General, I'm going to scroll down to Keyboard. And then I touch Keyboards. You see I have 4 installed already, so I touch Keyboards. And you can see that the keyboard I have installed is the IPA keyboard. But let's just touch Add New Keyboard, and let's try installing black keys. Remember that we could turn on IPA Full, which is the one I prefer, and hit Done. That brings us back here. Remember, we're going to jump back in here and allow full access. This actually tends to add little clicks. Some people don't like the clicks, so you might want to turn that off. We're going to head back out, touching the button in the upper left-hand corner to work our way back out to Settings. And now I'm going to touch the Home key. And from here, I'm going to go into my Twitter client. Now, I use the Twitter client Tweetbot as opposed to the Twitter app. I'm going to touch the Tweetbot icon. And it's always fun to tweet something in IPA. You can see the IPA Tweets account tweets things just about every day of interesting words. So we have ocelot and Middlemarch. So of course it's got an RPA twist to it. So if I want to do a tweet in IPA, I'm going to touch the upper right hand corner. And now I need to switch to an IPA keyboard. So I'm going to press and hold on the iOS keyboard. And I'm going to go into the IPA keyboard. You can see we've got white keys on a black background in this app. If I wanted to write brilliant in IPA, I'm going to see if I can get any square brackets. Do we have any square brackets? Yes, in the bottom right-hand corner. Press and hold would give me both options, but if I just want the left-hand one, I just touch it. Touch the bottom left-hand corner, and we're back to the regular keyboard to start inputting symbols. B, we want the R with the upside down turned approximate R. So there we go. I is lurking under the I key, so press and hold. Oh, I hit the O by mistake, so I'm going to try again. There it is. Small cap I is the third one over. Brilliant. So L, brill. Touch an L. Brilliant. So I'm going to put a barred I in there. Brilli. And then schwa. So touch the E. Schwa is the second symbol on that one. And an N. T. Now I would like a stress mark, so I'm going to use my finger to scroll the cursor over before the B. And you'll notice that in the top row I have a stress mark in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm going to just touch that. And now I'm going to close this, go back, put my closing bracket. So again, bottom left-hand corner to go to the diacritics, and press and hold on the bracket to get the closing bracket. Brilliant. So you get the idea. It's fairly simple to use. We'll jump into the black keys quickly. So touch the globe, and that's going to take me, that's my text expander keyboard. I'm going to touch their icon. They don't use the globe, they use their proprietary brand icon. So now we're in the black keys. Remember, the serif means this is the full IPA version. And let's see if we can just enter, maybe we'll write the word idea. So the script A, small capped I, the I is on the right here. We need a stress symbol, so that's an up symbol. So you press the double arrows up. And a stress mark is not here because it's not actually there. It should be under this key beside the globe that has the length and the double vertical strokes. So a stress is in the bottom left. Now back to IPA. D, E sound, D, and then we're going to put a schwa. Now I like to put a period before to break the schwa, so the syllable break, because ia looks a bit like the diphthong ear. So that's easy. Hit IPA to go back to letters, and there's a schwa there. Idea. Brilliant idea. So that's good. So I'm going to want to move that square bracket. So I'm going to move my cursor over, delete it, move my cursor back, and back into the diacritics to find that square bracket. Where's the square bracket lurking? I've forgotten. Back to IPA. Maybe there isn't a square bracket on this one. Those are the adjectives. Let's see, is there a square bracket? There's an angle bracket. Yeah, no square bracket there. Up, down. No square bracket. I have to go to another keyboard. So on a regular keyboard, square bracket is, of course, under the symbols. So it's not impossible if you don't have the square bracket. Look, I accidentally put an apostrophe. Got to take that out. If you don't have a square bracket in your IPA keyboard, you just use another keyboard, but it's a bit of a pain. Brilliant idea. I'm not going to send this, but you get the idea. I could easily tweet that. So this has been a view of IPA keyboards for the iOS, and I hope you found it helpful.